which is the funny part.
And who owns YouTube? Do they know?
Exactly.
Who owns Google? Do they know?
So, Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp are all owned by the same corporation. They're all Metas. Okay? YouTube was a private company, and it started out as one video, and it blew up overnight. WhatsApp is a social media type thing. It's come more, but it's also used for people who have family, friends overseas because it's a free messaging. Now we have Discord, which is giving some rival to it, but WhatsApp is still there. TikTok, owned by the Chinese. And at all of them, as soon as you, not Twitter, and not WhatsApp. WhatsApp deletes everything. It doesn't remember anything. It has no memory. It is on a secure server as much as something can be secure. But WhatsApp doesn't remember anything. You can delete everything. All the other ones don't delete, and the company actually owns all of the data once it's there. In theory, you can figure out how that works. Twitter is now more of a paid service. So our kids, and again, you have more of the children that thirst for knowledge outside of your classroom, and they're probably not going to be your A students, are on Twitter. Your politically connected children, the ones that want to stay on top of media, love Twitter. But everybody else is kind of pulled off of it. The weird part is that colleges that recruit for football, and maybe other sports, I don't know, I just have knowledge of what the football does, they actually require the kids to have a Twitter because that's where they do the recruiting. That's where they want to see things. One of my athletes pulled it up and I was like, no, that's a lie. People don't use Twitter like that. No, they do. So colleges are recruiting off of Twitter. This is hard for me. This still is hard for me because it started out as Musical.ly. Musical.ly was a very dangerous place for our young girls and our young boys. People were watching it, and for all the wrong reasons. And then it had so many issues that it needed to rebrand. And Musical.ly rebranded as TikTok and then revamped. It was nice that it revamped, but I still have a little bit of a meh. It's owned by a different government, which is why it's not allowed in all of our government places. You cannot have it on your phone when you go into certain government buildings. I don't go to any of those, so I can't tell you which ones. I just know it happened. At the same time, TikTok is the most rigorous with violations. You can violate yourself out of TikTok the easiest. If a young girl over 13, that's the age of most of these platforms, over 13, is in a bikini, an appropriate one, and somebody gets mad and violates that account, TikTok cuts the account. They don't ask second questions. They cut the account. And then I think to myself, I'm like, it's owned by a different government and it's not allowed in our government buildings, but yet it does the most to look out for our children. So I'm very torn and I'm not sure. Okay, Snapchat, that is what you hear going off most in your class. If you see a kid go, that's Snapchat, okay? They're on Snap Streaks. They take pictures and they put words over the pictures, and that's how they communicate all day long. And they go on something like a Snap Streak. If you want to see a child have a virtual meltdown in your class, take their phone so they can't go for their Snap Streak. That child's going to lose their mind. It's an addiction, okay? And now my new favorite is Twitch. Twitch is a gaming platform, or it was a gaming platform, but now it's everything else and its mother. You go on Twitch, you can watch people play video games. You can tip them, you can watch them, you can play along with them, and you can just live in life. There's also an in real life app of Twitch where you can watch people do daunting tasks. If that doesn't sound exciting for you, you might still have cable. Okay, Twitch takes cable TV and makes it a reality. Okay, now people can interact with their TV hosts. They can interact, they can watch, they can learn tips and tricks. They can see pretty girls, they can see handsome men in their daily lives. It is filling a need. Okay, and then on the bottom, we have Discord, Pinterest. Pinterest is a social media. Reddit, which is pretty cool. Quora, which is similar to Reddit. LinkedIn. If you don't do it already, and I plan on doing it soon, it's on the table to be discussed, have your high school create a LinkedIn, if it doesn't already have it. Then, your juniors and seniors that are over 16, LinkedIn is 16 and over, so 16 and over, have them create their profile while they're still in high school and connect it. That way, as they grow up and update their LinkedIn, you are now attached to them as a high school so you can keep track of your graduates. That might not sound like something interesting because it's not for today. It's not for next year. It's not for 2 years. But in 5 years, you can see which of your children have become something cool, what they're doing with their lives, how it shaped them, where they went to college, and so on. I highly suggest that.
Good question, if it's not
Yep.
later. So with LinkedIn, so I know like with our kids in our high school, like a lot of times their emails like go away after they graduate. They would still be linked to no.
Have them create their own email. Sorry, that was the first caveat. Have them create their professional email.
Then how does that link to like me?
Because once they create their LinkedIn with L. Hazelman,
Right.
they then put in schools and they put where they went to school. Yep. And that will link them to that school. That's why you get the school and account first and then link them to that school personally. Sorry. That way you can see, and that builds a network. And one of my favorite people that like I always looked up to growing up was Queen Latifah. I thought she was just so cool. I still love all her movies. And she grew up in Jersey, and then her parents were rumored to grow up or to be in Wayne, New Jersey, and I grew up in Wayne, New Jersey, and I was like, this is so cool. Like, so I'm like a 3rd degree away from Queen Latifah. I know that sounds silly, but I was like, the one I was like, yeah. But like now we have some football players that came out of John F. Kennedy High School. If we connect them, they'd be a 3rd degree away from some of our kids. So it builds a better network for our students in the long run. It is not a short run. Teams on Microsoft, never really, that's more of a professional thing. Threads didn't take off the way it was supposed to. It had the biggest impact, and then it sizzled.
Meta? Thread?
Yeah, Meta Threads. I had help creating this presentation, and this is always the joke, is OnlyFans. So, without offending anybody in the room, everything you think of OnlyFans is actually wrong. OnlyFans was not intended for that reason. That didn't come out until 2020. In 2021, they banned that reason from there in about June. There was such a protest by October or September, October, it was actually reinstated back for that purpose. But the purpose of OnlyFans was to be able to watch your favorite painter, to interact with your favorite painter, your sewer, your woodworker, all of the things that we want our students to become, so you could watch them. And you paid the subscription so you had access to talk to them. And then it became something else during the pandemic because other people were out of jobs. And then that is still a questionable one because of what it got publicized as, but it was well before that. So I just had to pay nod to that. Okay, which social medias do y'all use? Anybody use Facebook? Instagram? YouTube? Does anybody use YouTube Community? Okay, again, the younger kids are using YouTube Community where you post and you chat and you post on your wall. Who knew?
Yeah, right.
Who knew?
MySpace is fine.
Yes, exactly. Like now we have music back. Yay, it's not violated on that program. Does anybody use Twitch?
I have a question for Discord.
Yeah.
So do you, as a district, have it open to students on, like, available, they can just use Discord on their Chromebooks, or do you block it?
Me as a district is a very different question than what my district actually allows. I was on it yesterday on my computer, but I don't know yet. Our e-games team or esports team has one, and a few other people have one, but I don't know what platform.
They can create a policy for certain
Yeah.
people,
Yep.
and then that allows them, and you have one of those filtering systems that can do that. For those specific kids, and then that,
But I was just curious if anyone had it, like, we have it open.
Right.
I mean, it's useful because we have, like, you know, self-harm monitor alerts, so if kids are writing through it. So I don't want to close it, but I know some parents don't love it because they're constantly on it, because I just didn't know if anyone actually completely blocked it in their district. You have a block? Okay.
yeah.
I'm almost sure that we either have it blocked or should have it blocked, but I don't agree with blocking it, if that answers the question. The kids are gonna find a way. It's really beyond, and I'm actually gonna tell you something, and if you're an administrator, please don't block it right away about what I tell you. Let the kids find it first before you block it. You know, you gotta let them figure out how to do things before we shut everything down.
That's how we know to block you.
Exactly. So, how many people use Instagram? Anybody use TikTok? Okay. I wish, and I my students were like, you should have a TikTok account. I was like, I
I don't have
am,
an account, I just watch.
okay. I was like, I am 40 and chubby, like, game on. I was like, if you want to teach me a dance, you can't be in my video unless I get permission from your parent, but I will gladly mimic you, and, you know, and now they do a live, so I really need to get to 1,000 followers on TikTok, and I'm like, how do I do that? And we'll talk about some of my ways. But it's interesting because the kids are obsessed with TikTok. It's longer videos. It's like YouTube and Instagram had a baby, and I thought it was just gonna be like videos of people dancing. It's not anymore. So now it's confusing. Okay. We use social media for personal use, gaining information, side income. There are so many teacher influencers out there that it's pretty cool. Like, they're starting to do something cool. They talk about kids. We'll get to that. But teachers are tired of working at like CVS and working summer programs. That they're coming up with a way to work their teaching into a social media. Even if it's Pinterest. Teachers pay teachers. Sort of social media, but it's a side hustle for some of the teachers. Okay? We're using it for sharing information, and if you're not, then maybe you need to. And we're going to talk about how. And as a teaching tool, if you ever want your students to buy into your lesson, refer to somebody online. They will automatically be interested. Okay? So, Google Slides is also a social media type thing. AKA, my friend wrote on my presentation while I wasn't looking. And I was like, I'm leaving it there to prove that this could also be a type of social media. Now, people that close off Discord, it's funny because kids can open a Google Slide, Google Doc, Google Sheet, whatever, and start typing. And they can use the chat feature if it's not blocked off, so you don't see it. They could use the just writing on the doc. And what's worse is that's not filtered. What you write on a doc isn't filtered. So Discord is filtered. So next time somebody says close it, be like, well, they could write in a doc. And here's the caveat of, yes, it's recorded on Google Doc, but if it's only there for a few seconds, it's not. And if you have two people writing at the exact same time, it won't be recorded. Discord, It's there. It's there. You see it. It's monitored. It's filtered. This, not so much. So that's why I had to leave it. So I graduated college in 2005 with my BA in Tech Ed, or BS. I still don't know if I have a BA or BS. I don't really know. The rules were very different then. Facebook was still a matchmaking site. Facebook started as a dating site, if you didn't know. And it was the Facebook.
College Facebook.
Yep. And so he actually ripped off a different matchmaking site, and that's why it was the Facebook or the Book of Face, or he went through a few.
And I think everybody forgets the real impetus behind it. It was to rate
People.
females.
Yeah, and to get dates.
When they first-
That was his first venture when he
Yeah.
shut down the Harvard network.
Yeah. Nothing good comes out of wanting to do good at first. And then, so there's news stories. When I graduated college, I went into teaching, and I had something called the Live Journal. It was like sort of like social media. And I wrote stuff there, and one of my students found it and then put it somewhere else, and I got in trouble by the administration. And it wasn't anything bad. I can't even remember what it was. But the administration's like, why is this out there? I was like, it's not bad. Again, social media didn't exist in 2005. The same student then said he was going to poison my tater tots. And I found it online. And I was like, this is inappropriate. The kid needs to get suspended. Like, this is a threat. And they're like, it's online. It doesn't matter. Huh? He said he was going to poison my tater tots. I do eat tater tots often with vigor. And they're like, it doesn't matter.
You know, it's like if a tree falls in the forest and makes a
Right.
sound, and nobody's around to hear it, does it make a sound?
Right. And so they were so ill-equipped in 2005. I clearly did not stay in that district very long because I thought differently. Here I am. And, okay. Social media mistakes. This is what you hear about, this is what's publicized, and this is why teachers, administrators, officials, everybody is scared of teachers having social media. Okay? You should not be friends with your students on social media. There's always exceptions to every rule, and I'll talk about that in a second, but let's go with the no-nos. You can't trash talk your school or school community online. That's horrible, and you shouldn't do that. Keep that for your best friends on phone call, not even text, okay? Posting inappropriate photos, comments. I hate this one because what's inappropriate for me, being a 40-year-old white female, might not be inappropriate for a 25-year-old Spanish female. And people are like, well, what's inappropriate is inappropriate. And I give students scenarios, and you guys are all old enough to understand the scenarios, but like when you post a picture on a beach, what I'm wearing versus what somebody else is wearing, we're both appropriate. We're out in public, we're with our kids, but you're gonna deem me inappropriate if I post it online. And I have a big problem with that, and I am definitely fighting to change that in my own subtle ways. But drinking. And I talked to my students about this. I said, a teacher drinking online, is that a problem for you? And they said, no. You guys, I said, they go, you're over 21. I said, but I could probably get in trouble for it. They're like, why? So what I know at 40 and what they know at 18 are very different worlds. And so my view on drinking or posting drinking pictures is, if you post yourself with a cup, it is what it is. That's a cup. Don't post yourself with a bottle. Don't post yourself with the aftermath of what happens. Don't post yourself with questionable things in front of you. Okay? Don't post a picture of pill bottles. Don't, like, even if they're just the pills you take to control your ADHD so you can actually give a presentation, you don't post them.
And if you're Prince Harry, you don't wear a German uniform with a swastika at a Halloween party.
You didn't post that, bro.
No, I know, but still.
Okay, you don't do that in general, but yes. So we have to be more cautious. And then, most of all, don't post your political or social issues. This is rough for some people. Just like in a classroom, you're not going to get into a debate on which president you want. Okay, you're going to be careful with what the words are. And you're not going to get into a debate with which is better, Roblox or Minecraft. Okay, no. You're not going to get into a debate on who is a better president. You will lay out facts, you will lay out figures, and you will give both sides, I hope. Because that's what we're taught as teachers. You give both sides. You can say, I'm a Democrat, I'm a Republican, I'm a Whig, whatever you want to be. But that's it. Okay? So, don't go into it further. But things get screwed up online and things get blown out of proportion. And if you are political, mazel tov. Be political on a different page. Don't do it where you post about school. And most of all, no negative talk about the students. Okay? And I'm not saying you can't be like, oh my God, that one kid, blah, blah, blah. But you don't go, Harry came into class, picked his nose, wiped it on his friends. He is a disgusting blah, blah, blah. You can't post that. Okay? You shouldn't even think that, but you can't post it. Okay.
I also caution people not to wear any school attire, like school branded stuff. I've dealt with so many people who have posted on social media of them wearing like, oh, here's the Cedar Grove logo, and they're giving you a finger.
Yeah.
Yeah, or if you set somebody off out there and they see you, they can track you by
Right.
knowing that you work at Cedar Grove. And if they're pissed off enough at you, they can show up and give you grief.
And even that,
Me too.
I challenge that sometimes because that's a lot of effort. And I'll be honest, I'm scary when it comes to the internet. And if I find somebody, I'll find out all their information and they don't have to post anything. So
Sadly, people can.
right, my mom and dad are like, you have a social media presence, that's not good. And I'm like, Mom, I also have a first and last name and own a house. Like, they're gonna find me if they want to. And all the crazy people are my friends, or I know them in real life. Like, I didn't meet them off the internet. Okay, we have about 7 minutes, so let me be quick. Teachers are looked at in a different light. We're held to different standards based on our role in the young humans' lives. And we're role models, grade givers, mom and dad of the classroom, and so much more daily, which is why we have a different version of ourselves online. There are 2 sides to every story, maybe 3. Private or public. Should your social medias be private or public? Everything about mine is public. I do some private stuff, and only my friends can see that. The reason I leave it private is because if students think they can see it all, they're not going to go looking. If people think they know everything about you, they're not going to go looking any further. That doesn't mean it should be the way you live, but if you throw them a bone every once in a while and make something public, your students will have more fun with it and you'll be more human. Okay, and I'm not saying you on the beach being public, but like you at a school event and you look very professional. Maybe have that being public so people can see that and you look good. If you wear makeup, your makeup's done, your hair, whatever, or you're, all representative. People are going to find it anyway. Make some things public so it's easier for them. Should students have access to your accounts? My rule of thumb is you can look at my pages, you can follow my pages if you want. I don't know who you are. You're an unnamed person on the internet. I'm not following you. Don't DM me. Don't talk to me. You don't, okay? And that's where my don't be friends with students, because if you follow me, whatever, I can't stop you. My page is public and these kids don't have their real names on their usernames. But don't enter into that conversation. Or if you realize that it is a student, save that conversation once you've had it and just keep it somewhere if it happens on accident. And then groups you join. Be in some groups on social media. They'll give you some information. But again, your parents, your students, anybody could be there. So be mindful, but don't not join. Okay. Students are on social media every day. This is how they get their news and current events. This is how they socialize and interact. And you're only as cool as your avatar skin. And old school people tend to be very rigid thinkers or reluctant. I got my hand slapped about social media a few days ago about something I posted. And I re-looked at what I posted. And I was like, there's nothing wrong with it. And then I definitely outsourced to another teacher and somebody outside of teaching. I'm like, is this wrong? They're like, no, but old school thinking thinks differently. I was like, okay, we're fine. Okay, again, I wasn't in trouble. It was just like one of those comments. I was like, you're wrong. Okay? The kids all have avatar skins online. If you do not have a new skin in Fortnite, they make fun of you. If you've never been made fun of by a group of 13-year-olds and 10-year-olds, play Fortnite, you will be, okay? I had a default skin. That means I didn't purchase anything in the game. I didn't win anything in the game, and my kids all made fun of me. Literally every child, from my own 10-year-olds up to my school 18-year-olds, made fun of me when I showed them the video of me playing Fortnite because I had a default skin. Okay, they no longer care what the color of your actual skin is, or your ethnicity, or your heritage or anything. They care about your avatar skin. Okay, the world has changed. One of my students made over $10,000 on the internet. He's 16. Okay? Our students want to they want to get into social media. They no longer want to be professional athletes, professional figure skaters, doctors, lawyers, whatever. They want to be influencers, YouTubers, gamers, all that. If you don't have a social media presence, if you don't spend time on social media, you are creating a disconnect for them. I'm not saying live there, but if you know some of the lingo and you can throw it in every once in a while, they're like, what? What? And all of a sudden their eyes light up and they're back in. Every once in a while I'll be like, bet. Or that person's such a sweat. I still don't know what that means, but I think it's somebody that takes a game way too seriously. I'm like, wow, it's sweaty in here. And I get the looks from my students. I'm like, but y'all just paid attention. Okay.
I know the Kilo Ballers, but is Ballers the players and shot callers the managers or owners? Is that how you refer?
That's actually, and I'm 40. That's actually part of a song.
Oh, okay.
So the ballers are the people that live expensively.
Oh, okay.
So, and the shot callers. So basically, don't be an end user. I don't want my kids
Be a
just.
creator.
Yes, I don't want them to want everything that they have on social media and just keep buying everything to look like a baller and like look expensive. I want them to be the shot callers in sweatpants behind the computer that look like bums because they've created it.
My sister-in-law is an influencer.
Is she?
And she makes about $12,000 a month.
Right.
It's like ridiculous. I cannot imagine, like, when I sit with her, I'm like, Tara, you're like the least interesting person I've met in my life.
They
She
live
makes
at
$12,000
home.
a month. I'm like, what the heck's
And
going on
she's
here?
saying, look at the
She makes
scoreboard.
recipes. She does recipes. That's all she does. I'm like, I mean, her recipes are very good. She's a great cook.
No. We're just generalizing, and I don't mean to put anybody down because I'm trying to get into this.
It's unbelievable.
But a lot of them live less than grand lives at home in mommy and daddy's basements. Don't look like what they look like on
She
thing.
works her ass off too. Like,
Right.
she is a hard worker.
And
She's
then,
getting all these deals and setting up
And
sponsorships and things like that.
right,
But it was years of building.
they are determined individuals.
Yes.
Okay, some people fall into it. Others have to brand themselves. They have to work for it. There's a lot of money that's laid out at the beginning, and you don't have to be perfect, but you can definitely build yourself. And if you don't think it, you will connect with the students more by doing it. Let me say. Okay, these are some people: Mr. Beast, KSI, Jake Paul. Don't know who Rhett and Link are, and Charlie. Don't know them. But his burgers aren't that great, I heard.
I
Okay.
like burgers, though.
So just to give you a laugh, this is mine. I started playing Fortnite because I wanted more views on Facebook. Me and Facebook had a falling out the other day because I violated some terms, but they can't tell me what I violated, so I could delete it. And then I looked at it, and it was literally a meme that may have done it, and I am a tech ed person, like electricity, and it had to do with electricity, and it said not everybody is meant for college, and it's a kid sticking a fork into an electrical socket, and they flagged it for suicide, self-harm, when really every electrician I know has stuck something into an electrical socket when they were a child. Okay? I did it when I was an adult, but I'm a slow learner. So this is me playing games online. This is Fortnite. My picture is a mess. I have my background of my bedroom in the background. I traumatized myself the other day because I went to I have one of those 3 folding things, and it's in my basement. I hate bugs. So I have those glue traps out just in case any of those spiders get in. There was a glue trap on top of this 3-fold thing. I was like, let me move it. I go to move it, and there's something fuzzy on it. I freaked. And I was on a Zoom for a professional meeting, and then I went back to it, and I'm like, okay, I'm ready to see the mouse. And it wasn't a mouse, so I freaked again. And it was a bat. And then I felt so bad because there was a bat. And then I called my parents to feel better about myself. And I'm like, oh my God, this happened. And my mom's like, why didn't you save the bat? It was already dead.
Yeah.
She's like, but they help. They eat the bugs that you don't like. But it was dead. You should have saved it. We're done with this conversation. So, but that's my logo. It's got to change a little bit. It's also cool because teaching kids to brand themselves and do a logo. Yeah. And that's all of my socials. I did a link tree. If you don't have a link tree, are you even cool? But there is the one caveat. I had to have fun. And now this is not in a professional means by any means. This is off professional. Because you got to have fun. And I like to skate that line. So one last thought is...
Time's almost up.
Yep, we're just on the one last... So anyway, one of my students is like, you should do Twitch. That's how I got onto Twitch. Then they're like, there's girls that just sit in a hot tub all day in their bikinis. And I was like, I too should sit in a hot tub all day in my bikini. And they look at me, I was like, y'all think I'm old, huh? And they're like, yeah. So my students know not to follow me on Twitch. Like, that is an unstated rule that I state over and over again. So during the snowstorm, I had to have some fun. I was in the hot tub on Twitch while it's snowing, and my child is throwing snowballs into the hot tub. And it was one of those interesting streams of, I had to laugh, because clearly I'm appropriate in the hot tub at all times. But it was such the difference of like, wow, people that step outside of their comfort zone really do something different. Like you said, your sister-in-law is doing recipes. At one point, she stepped outside of her comfort zone. My student that made 16 grand, I can't get him to come to school. I didn't know that I couldn't get him to come to school because he would literally come to school for my class and then leave because he wanted to know more about social media. And I made him sit down and talk to me, and then I got one of my teacher coordinators involved. I'm like, get this kid to go to class. Like, and then the other day he made $2 grand on TikTok over one video. I'm like, what do I have to teach you? But there's something. And yes, I know that what I said about my own stream was like, what's wrong with her? But it was one of those things where I don't tell the masses of my students, but certain students that really have a potential to make something. I tell them, y'all are pretty, and whatever light, there are people out there that are going to love you. There are people out there going to hate you. Put yourself out there a little bit, and don't compromise your morals and values. Know who you are, but be willing to rebrand and stretch out. Teachers, same goes to you. Try a little bit. Go outside of your comfort zone, just a little. Don't cross the line. Maybe have a Facebook page just for your teachers, your teaching stuff. Let your students find source materials there. Let them see you being human, and you're going to connect at a greater level that you never knew existed. So that's it. Sorry.